My name is Amaya Hamilton, and today you're watching Panther Hot Ones. Today I'm here with
Roberto Lugo.
Are you ready to answer some questions and eat some wings?
I'm excited about it, yes.
First question, which one of your pieces are you most proud of and why?
Well, I would say one of the first things I ever made was a fire hydrant. I made it on the pottery wheel out of clay. When I was younger, I grew up really poor, and my dad and I, when the water would get shut off, we would shower in the fire hydrant. So I made this like little fire hydrant soap dispenser. One of the reasons why it's my favorite piece is because it reminds me that like some of the greatest artwork in the world is not based off of skill and like you developing into this person that could do something really extraordinary. Sometimes it's just based off of our lived experience and doing something based off of like a personal moment that connects with other people. And so for me, I think that's a really important work of mine.
Are you ready to eat the first wing?
I think so. I'm a little scared though.
I think we start with this one.
You start which one? This one?
Artist Roberto. You adding more sauce?
Oh, am I not supposed to?
Do you want to? You can.
No, these already got the sauce on it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, now I understand. All right, so we'll try it. I'm banging.
Bro, this tastes like the last wing. Bro.
Like the last wing? No, I think that's pretty good.
That is the last wing for me.
You gotta start backwards?
Well, I think I started backwards.
No, mine's is good. It's hot, huh? Oh, okay.
The real Artist Roberto.
You got it, okay. So you started with the hot one.
They lined it up like they usually line it where the wings is, but.
You got it.
Are you ready for the second one?
Second wing?
No, the second question.
Yeah, I'm ready for the second question, yep.
What is your biggest motivation? How does that help you in life?
That's a really important question. I think to be successful in any field, whatever it is that you decide to do in life, you got to be about something. And for me, the most important thing for my artwork and career in life represent the community that I come from. So I get offered to do talks all over the world. I've given talks at Harvard, Yale, in front of thousands of people. When I got the opportunity to come here and hang out with y'all at Mastbaum, I immediately picked it up because this is what I'm about. I teach elementary schools, juvenile detention centers, anywhere where I can to get my point across, which is that people from these communities could quite literally be anything that we want to be, but quite often we don't get those opportunities. I want to impress on other people that don't come from these places that innovators come from here, artists come from here. The most important and creative people in the world come from places like Kensington. And so for me, that's the main focus of my artwork is represent where I'm from.
Wasn't you a Temple professor?
I was a professor at Temple University, yeah. I was a tenure track professor, and I ran the program for a few years in ceramics. And that was an important part of my life, but like teaching and higher education is one form of teaching. But what I find is like when you're doing something, you could think about where you would make the most living out of, or you could think about what feeds you the most in your soul. One of the things I do is I set up my pottery wheel on the side of the street, and I just teach people how to throw. And for me, a lot of times that's just as rewarding as teaching in college through the opportunity of like just focusing on making a living off of my art. It gives me some flexibility to teach any and everywhere.
Are you ready for the second one?
I'm ready. It looks orange to me. This is a mango.
Habanero whole sweet.
This is a winglet. I like the winglets, the flats, I mean.
Yeah, I love the flats.
I think the first one was more spicy.
It was really spicy for me because I chose the wrong one. Why do you often embrace your ghetto themes in work?
Because I think outside of where I come from, the word ghetto is used as a negative, like, oh, so-and-so's ghetto, or oh, that's ghetto. But for me, ghetto is another word for meaning resourceful. If you think about it, the people that we grew up around, those people do a lot with very little. And so for me, that form of resourcefulness is something to look up to, something to admire, because a lot of times when we get the opportunities like having access to money or access to opportunities, we do so much more than other people can do because we know what it's like to live with less. And so for me, I like to represent that in my work. I'm also really proud of where I come from. Like in these streets and these hallways is where I learned how to do graffiti, is where I learned how to write hip hop. And those gifts that I was given is why I've winded up getting all the opportunities that I've gotten. And so, you know, like one of the things I've gotten to do in Philly is I did a mural of Black Thought from the Roots. And so I got to work with him in a creative way, which is really inspirational. And so one of the things that I want to try to do is like the same way that he gave back and gave me an opportunity to do that, I'm trying to do that with people that, that grew up in the same place.
Are you ready for our third wing?
I think so, yeah. This one's gonna be spicy, huh?
This is Nando's Peri Peri.
Let's go for it. It's very good. I don't think it's too spicy. It's got a lot of flavor though. Well, it's not the top of the hot level, right?
This is.
Oh man, I'm scared of that one.
I gotta do that again. How and why did you create the Delaropsky series? Did I say it right?
Mm-hmm.
How has this series impacted you, and what did you take away from it?
You know how if you're an author, you might write different books, and each one allows you an opportunity to say something different, but like still be from the same voice. So that's the reason why I worked on a series. And one series is called Delaropsky because Robsky is the graffiti name that I had growing up. There's a series of wall murals called Delarobia that was made during the Renaissance era. And a lot of the imagery is like Madonna and Child, so like the Virgin Mary with baby Jesus, holding baby Jesus. Today in the Philadelphia Museum of Art, I have a piece on display that's my mom holding me, but instead of like being like just a little baby, it's got me with like a ski mask on. And I look at history as an opportunity to like retell stories in a way that people can understand today. With that series, I can use how people often already have seen that image, but like flip the script on it and do it in a way that people haven't seen before. So the reason why I have a ski mask on as a child is because a lot of times people will look at young black and brown people like we're bound for crime, like we're bad people from the beginning, but in reality we're innocent. And it's the systems that we grow up in that don't provide us opportunities that often lead us to do things like commit crimes. And so by like putting a ski mask on myself and having my mother hold me, it shows the sacred moment of just like a mom holding a baby, but how that mom has overwhelming challenges because of the way that the world sees that child, just because of the way that they're born.
That's really beautiful.
Thank you.
This is wasabi sauce.
Wasabi, okay.
I ain't tried this. This is the first time I'm trying it.
Wasabi. Wasabi's spicy. You ever had like sushi with wasabi on it?
I had sushi, but I never had the wasabi. Oh, this tastes kind of sweet. This tastes like hot mustard. I can't taste it.
It does kind of taste like a hot mustard, you're right.
It's good. This might be my favorite.
Yeah. I'm about to, once we done here, I'm about to order another plate. Yeah, it is really good. Wasabi is where it's at.
How does it feel to have your work recognized and displayed in museums? Has this changed you in any way?
When I left high school, nobody really talked about college. We had people trying to get us into the military all the time, but nobody ever really talked to us about college. So I never really thought about college as an option. And one of my first jobs out of high school was I was a security guard. I was a doorman, and I used to open doors for people. And I was right across the street from the Philly Museum of Art. And I'd never been to the Philadelphia Museum of Art my whole childhood. And I would go and I would like eat my lunch and I would people watch, but I never went into the museum because think about it. What's in there for me? You know, like there's nothing in there that I would recognize or that I would pay money to see. So to have something in the museum, like the piece that I have in there is about the Mobb Deep song, Ain't No Such Thing as Halfway Crooks. It's like this opportunity to not only like go into the museum, but to have something permanently on display there that represents something that people would never imagine would exist in the museum. You know, and so that's what's unique or distinct about giving opportunities to people that come from places like this, is that we then think of things that are innovative that nobody would ever think about. So now when people do get to go to the museum, you know, let's say there's another security guard that exists today and he goes to the museum, he'll see something that he recognizes, and for me, I feel like there's a sense of pride in that, you know, feeling like your culture and what represents you matters, especially in a context like a museum. Because quite often when we think about black and brown people and throughout history, a lot of the things that we've made are more anthropology museums, almost like we're a native culture looking to be discovered rather than seen as artists or innovators or unique people. Yeah, so the process of like having work in museums means that like you can complicate what people think belongs in a museum. And so for me, that's more important than even having my name in it. My name is secondary to the people that I represent through my work. The fifth wing.
Fifth. You ready for that one?
Yes, I'm definitely, this one looks very crunchy, so I'm very ready for this one.
It's called Dinosaur Barbecue. Devil's Duel Habanero Hot Sauce.
All right, anything with the word devil in it has got to be really hot. So I'm not looking forward to this one, but I'm gonna do it.
It's black. Oh. Wait, why is my
It's good though. Like sauces, some of them are just hot for the sake of being hot, and some of them have flavor, like garlic or whatever. Like I feel like that wasabi one had a lot of flavor to it. You know what I mean? It tasted like
hot
it's like that mustard sauce. Yeah.
Why do you often take inspiration from Greek gods?
Ancient Greece is how we understand a lot of Western civilization. So like European countries, America, those countries are really influenced by Western civilization and philosophy. So a lot of philosophy comes from ancient Greece. But one of the main things is like we know what people were eating and doing 2,000 years ago because of ancient Greek pottery. So there's these orange and black pots, and they tell us about what a party looked like back in the day. Like you might not know this, but like in ancient Greece, people would eat sitting down, like laying down. That's one of the things that we know from that. We know what a party looked like. We know what people were drinking. And that all happens through the imagery that's put on side of an orange and black vessel. But when you're from the hood, what do you think about when you think about orange and black?
Jail.
You think about jail, exactly. So you take someone who has a different type of experience, you give them the same colors and they see the world differently. One of the things is I wanted to like let people know about stories of people who went to prison, like my brother, through ancient Greek pottery. So using the same format that people understand Western civilization, but doing it in a way that like represents my culture. And so one of the things that I painted that's at the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh is called the School to Prison Pipeline. And at the bottom of the piece, it's a line of kids awaiting in lunch for school to get their lunch. And then in the middle, there's a line of people waiting to get food stamps. And at the very top, there's a line of people waiting for lunch in a prison. You know, it sort of tells a story that when you grow up poor, you get limited opportunities, and that often leads you to be desperate. And that desperation often leads you to make decisions that might lead you to something like prison. And that's why we have so many more people that wind up in prison. It's not because we're an inherently bad people, it's because we have less opportunities. And the more that we can like illustrate that and show people that, then it confuses stereotypes, and it makes it that people are less likely to see us as criminals and more as like, you know what we are, human beings.
Are you ready for the last one?
I'm not. Looking at your face, I feel like this is gonna be really overwhelming, but I'm gonna go for it because I'm inspired. All right, what is this one called?
Scorpion sauce.
All right, scorpion sauce. So the question is whether or not we can eat the scorpion sauce without going to the milk. All right, let's do it.
All right.
You know how
What?
when tears automatically start coming down your face. Ooh, I'm definitely gonna go for some water. But if we started there, I don't think there's any way I would have made it to the end. I was telling a story about how in Culinary Arts here, they show us different peppers in different degrees. Habanero pepper was the hottest one. So I was trying to be a tough guy, and I just ate a whole habanero pepper. And it feels like my mouth feels right now. Yeah, I'm gonna be feeling this later.
It's burnt. I got one more question.
Okay, let's get to it.
It was, if there was one thing you could tell your 16-year-old self, what would it be and why?
One of the things I think that's really important, especially for this audience, growing up, you often hear all the ways that you, all the things that you lack in life. Growing up, I used to be called fat a lot, not by my family, but by people in the community. I would be called derogatory terms for my race. You grow up and you listen to that and you believe that. you know? If I could tell them something that they would believe, is that you're not lesser than anyone else. I know that's a platitude. I know that's something that people hear all the time. But that's the reality, is that, like, all people are created equal. And so if you could believe that at a young age, from 6-year-old, that you're just as valuable as anybody else, it doesn't matter if they come from money, it doesn't matter if they're a different race, a different gender. If you could actually believe that, I think that would have freed me up a lot in life. And I think I would have spent a lot less time thinking about whether I deserve to be in a place or not. And I would have focused more on having an experience, and the quality of my life would have went up. To anybody listening, you are valuable, you are worthy of existing, and you are just as valuable as anybody else. I know that's something that people get told all the time, but a lot of times we're told the opposite through how people talk to us and treat us. Take it from somebody who's felt that way their whole life. If you allow those negative thoughts, those negative words, if you just focus on those, then you'll feel less than. But if you can listen to the other voices that are telling you that you're beautiful, that you're funny, that you're smart, if you can listen to all those voices as well, you'll turn out to be a more well-rounded person.
Thank you for that. I really will listen to that. Take your advice.
You see tears in my eyes? That's from the wings, not from what I said.
My mouth is on fire. I took
Woo.
advice to that. I can't do it no more.
Tap out.
They want me to drink it. Okay. Well, that's it for Hot Ones. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
See you next time.